Welcome to the MLS show. It is me, Baz, for the results reaction video. Gonna review all of the weekend's action in this video, so make sure you stick around to see all of that. But let's begin with the game between Columbus Crew and New York City. So the first one we're going to look at is Columbus Crew against New York City. This one in the Columbus Crew 3, New York City 2. Entertaining game. 5 goals. Columbus Crew's first victory of the season. You wouldn't have said that, MLS Cup runners-up last season. You wouldn't have said it would have took them a few weeks to get off the mark. But I felt as though it's been coming. I think the too good a side, I said last week, I think the too good a side to not be up there challenging. It's well documented. Kamara, Finley, Merrim, Higuain. The too good, the too creative to not cause problems for sides in MLS. But it's been a little bit of a, it's been coming. It's been coming, but it's taking its time. For New York City, they won day one with a great win at Chicago, and I've done very little since. And that's the frustrating thing, I think, for Patrick Vieira's men. It's now 5 games without a victory for them, so they're going to be very, very frustrated there. This one, a game that opened up, I think, quite brightly. And Ethan Finley getting off the mark for the season, took his goal well. Merrim involved as he is, and Finley rapping home from close range to give Columbus Crew the lead. And then, you're hoping from them that they're going to go on and build. I think Patrick Vieira's men went to a 4 at the back. I think Chris Pajak, who is on the main show that we do, is a New York City fan. I talked about the 3 at the back, given how narrow the pitch is at home, and would they switch when they go away and there's bigger pitches. And that's exactly what Vieira did. He went to a 4 at the back, but it just didn't quite work. And I think that's sometimes the difficulty when you're switching formations. But I think it's still early in Vieira's reign. It's too early. It's a long season, MLS. We've said that before. Yes, there's merits to having a strong start where you finish in the standings, but it's still early. And I think Vieira will tighten this side up. And once they get the win, and get a little bit of momentum going, I think we'll see a much, much better New York City side. I still feel as though they're a little bit short in the front areas to help Villa out. But they got themselves level. A great cross from Iriola and David Villa. Lovely little header into the far corner to tie things up at 1 each at the break. But then, it had to happen. It had to happen. And in the second half, Kai Kamara got himself back amongst the goals with a shot from the edge of the box, just a Merrim fed, and Kamara took it on and rasped it into that far corner past Saunders. A great finish to give Columbus Crew a 2-1 lead. And then they took over. They were the better side for me. New York City toiled away again. There's just a little bit of tinkering needed, I think, with New York City. I think he's got, for me, like I've said it so many times, but they're a man short up front for me. They're a target man. There's someone who will take the weight off Villa, get hold of the ball for them and give them a platform to play. Villa can buzz around them the way he does. And that, for me, is what they're a little bit short of. Probably a little bit short of Frank Lampard as well. But hey, who knows what is going to happen with Big Frank. But Columbus Crew got 3-1 ahead, and it was Justin Merrim who had 2 assists, who deserved his goal. He put Columbus in what looked like an unassailable position at 3-1. And we're cruising, but then a little bit of controversy near the end. Columbus Crew conceded the penalty, and Parkhurst was given his marching orders, and it was a mistake because it was actually Tyson Wall who should have been sent off. The referee sent Parkhurst off. People were looking a little bit stunned, of course, because it wasn't him. It was mistaken identity, which is bizarre, isn't it, in this day and age, that you'd have mistaken identity. But David Villa stepped up, scored, sent Clark the wrong way, made it 3-2. And then Clark had to pull an incredible save out of the fire right at the end to stop New York City grabbing a point, and they held on. Columbus Crew for their first victory of the season, and it'll be a pivotal victory because I think that'll give them the confidence they need to go forward. For New York City, like I said earlier on, back to the drawing board a little bit for Patrick Vieira's men, but I'm quite sure that as we go on through the season, Vieira can turn this around. But it's ended Columbus Crew 3, New York City 2. Okay, moving on. Colorado Rapids against New York Red Bulls. Jermaine Jones' debut. That made the headlines. That was the big thing going into this weekend. His 6-game ban was up. He was making his debut for Colorado. And what a debut it proved. What a game in absolutely bizarre conditions. It was great. Listen, it was reminded me of games of footy in England, the late 70s, early 80s, with the white pitch and the orange ball and the lines just, made up. Now they're all mamby-pamby over there. Now they're like, we can't play, it's snowing, we get a little bit cold, and all of that bollocks they come out with. But I like to see real men in Major League Soccer just getting on with it and just playing. But, I've been impressed with Colorado Rapids this season. I've said it before. Marco Papa, for me, has started the season fantastically well. I like Solignac up front. I think he is a really, really good player. Gashi, had a good game the other night in the victory at Sporting Kansas City. So they've started really, really well. And I always felt Jermaine Jones would make them even stronger. Hey, and he got a goal on his debut, sweeping in across from the edge of the box, tucked it under the goalkeeper. It was a great goal, and that's what Colorado have been doing. They've, Pablo Mastroeni's got them well organised. They've had a really, really good start to the season, and Jermaine Jones was always going to make them stronger, and that's what he done. He put them ahead there. Red Bulls, Bradley Wright Phillips reinstalled back into the starting lineup. Just couldn't. It was shots getting blocked. The conditions were very, very harsh, let's be honest. It was a bit balmy, snow coming down. It was mad conditions to play football in. But New York Red Bulls got themselves level. Zuber, who had been out, with injury, back in the side, and he was allowed a free header at the far post to level things up for New York Red Bulls. And then it's a case of, can they go on and win it? Can Bradley Wright Phillips get himself in amongst the goals, or can Colorado go and nick it? Can they go and continue this good momentum that they are on? And it was Colorado. And it was Badgie who smashed home into the far corner of the net in full snow. The ball travelling, catching snow on its way right into the far corner past Robles to give Colorado a victory. His leg slide produced the 2 legs and a third one, which Sean St. Ledger made reference to the third leg. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look at the celebration now. Who am I to argue with Sean St. Ledger? But Colorado won the game. Fantastic win for them. Red Bulls, what is going on? 7 games played, 6 defeats and 1 victory for the Supporter Shield holders. It's quite incredible what is happening to the Red Bulls at the moment. But again, it's all momentum, and they need to get some momentum very, very quickly. For Colorado, massive pat on the back for them. They've been exceptional so far this season. Tim Howard arrived there next month as well to strengthen them even further. Like I say, Kevin Doyle will be back soon as well. It's looking good for Colorado. I like Dylan Serna as well, the young kid. Got a cracking strike on him. So things going in the right direction for Colorado, and they won this one by 2-1. Moving on, Real Salt Lake against Vancouver Whitecaps. It ended Real Salt Lake 1, Vancouver Whitecaps 0. RSL, another side who have impressed me. Didn't have a great season last season, but have been bang at it this season right from the off. And João Plata has been in exceptional form for them this season. And no surprise, he was the man with the assist for the all-important goal in this one. He got the winner last week against Colorado. He was assisting this week for Martinez, who basically just won the game. He's won the game for Real Salt Lake. Vancouver, don't know what to make of them this season. He was so dynamic and exciting last season. Really fast and a good young side Carl Robinson had there, and played some really good football last season. But they just, like a few of the sides at the moment, like your New York Red Bulls and teams like that, they just haven't whoops. They just haven't got going, and you're wondering when that's going to start. Really, had a couple of wins on the run with penalties, but without dubious penalties, they are struggling so far. The Caps. How can they turn that round? they need to get players like Octa Riverio scoring goals, Morales scoring goals, and really get their passing game going again, get their energy levels up, because at the minute it's not working for them. Real Salt Lake, just really impressed. Really impressed. They've done really well. They look like a good side to me. They look like a good organised side, and they had to start the season well. It's exactly what they've done. And in João Plata, they've got that little bit of sprinkling up there. They've got Moivisian as well, I think his name, or Movsisian, if that's how you spell his name. He's a handful as well. They've got players there who can cause problems, and when you've got that in your team and you're organised, you're always going to have a chance. And they have been really impressive so far this season, and they won this one by a goal to 0. And the Real Salt Lake 1, Vancouver Whitecaps 0. Moving on then, Seattle Sounders against Philadelphia Union. This one ended Seattle Sounders 2, Philadelphia Union 1. Seattle getting better. Didn't have the greatest start of the season. I went on record and said I felt as though they would miss Obafemi Martins. They looked like they were missing Obafemi Martins right at the start. Clint Dempsey was a little bit meh early on. He was a little bit in and out. They had Jordan Morris, who was highly rated, and I highly rate him, and I believe he's got an affinity with Everton, which makes me even happier. So I rate him a little bit more. He was being used in a wide position when I think he wants to play down the middle, and it's a case of Siggy Smith just trusting him, and that's exactly what he did against Philadelphia Union. He put Jordan Morris right down the middle and let him play as the centre forward. Clint Dempsey played in a more withdrawn role for Seattle in this one, and it worked better. I think Clint Dempsey is he's good in that number 10 role. He can still be involved in the final third. He can win headers. He can be aggressive at times, and I think he can take a lot of the knocks, and Jordan Morris can do the running, because let's be honest, you need someone who is explosive in that final third. You need someone who's going to play on the shoulder of the last defender. Clint Dempsey isn't going to do that now. He's going to weigh in with free kicks. He's going to be in the penalty area, tucking things away. He's going to be playing that fox in the box, almost, that kind of role. He's not going to be spinning defenders, getting on the shoulder, playing on the last man and leaving you for dead. It's not his game anymore. But they got Seattle took the lead through Chad Marshall. What a week he's had. Leveled things up late on last week. And this week he got Seattle off to a perfect start. Unmarked at the far post. Corner by Evans, shit to the far post. There's Marshall, heads it down. Seattle in front. Jordan Morris then into the second half. He'd missed a couple of opportunities, and you're wondering, is he going to score that first goal and get himself off the mark? The answer was yes. And he took his goal really well. A good first touch, ball into him, good first touch, and a lovely little stab past the goalkeeper to give Seattle all 3 points. Sebastian Letou scored for Philadelphia Union to reduce the arrears with a good finish. But it was all about Jordan Morris, and rightly so, the youngster getting his first MLS goal, his first goal for Seattle this season. And that will give him massive confidence. That will boost everybody. It'll make the crowd feel a bit better about him, because yes, it's fine having that expectation on your shoulders. It's fine having that talent. It's fine having this reputation that this young lad's going to come in and everything's going to be fine, but you've got to go out and deliver. You don't deliver, it means nothing. But Jordan Morris did deliver, and he delivered emphatically, because he got the winning goal. It'll make him feel great, and it'll make the fans feel happy as well. And it's some kind of justification for Siggy Smith as well, for taking the opportunity and getting him in there up front. So well played, Jordan Morris. And now let's see if he can go on a run and really get himself up those goal scoring charts. But this one ended Seattle Sounders 2, Philadelphia Union 1. Okay, moving on to a game that had 2 absolutely brilliant goals in it. 2 almost identical goals in it. I am talking about Chicago Fire 1, Montreal Impact 2. What a game this was for those goals. It was brilliant. And also for the return of Didier Drogba, because the game was played on grass. Chicago Fire off to a really good start, a really fast start. Bonnetta causing problems early on for Chicago. Montreal at the other end Piatti, getting involved again, and it always, with Dominic Ajuro, always a handful, missing a couple of chances at either end, and then Bonnetta picks the ball up in a wide area, cuts back in and just curls the ball absolutely beautifully into the top corner to give Chicago Fire the lead. It was a brilliant goal. It was an absolutely brilliant goal by Bonnetta. You can just watch it time and time again. It's an absolutely fantastic finish. And Chicago Fire, excuse me, led 1-0 at the break. They'll say deservedly so. But, Paunovic's men have been really good in terms of being organised and being difficult to break down and know how to condense the play. And I think Montreal would have been a little bit concerned at half-time coming into the second half. But they brought Drogba on into that second half and basically just carried on from last season. He came in last season and scored a lot of goals, something like 12 in 14 or 13 in 15 or something like that. He was brilliant, and in this one he was brilliant as well. Dominic Ajuro with the assist, cut it across, and Didier Drogba loves a backheeled Montreal level. And he was up and running, and that boosts you again. It gets him off the mark. The team, Montreal, looking at him. We've got the big player, he's doing it again, and everyone gets a boost. But the game went on, and it went on, and it went on, and it went on, and both teams had chances. We get into injury time, and then Piatti comes up with an Bonnetta strike. It's almost identical. The finish is almost identical. Corner of the box, sweeps it back beautifully into the top corner and gives Montreal Impact all 3 points. It was an absolutely brilliant goal. And you've got to feel for Bonnetta because he scored an absolute worldie. And Piatti's undone him with a very, very similar goal to win the game. So you've got to feel for them there. But a great result for Montreal Impact. They've been good as well this season. They've started off quite strongly. Really carrying on where they left off last season. But that was a massive win for them. And two absolutely brilliant goals. If you haven't looked at them, you haven't seen them, go and check them out. The two fantastic goals. But this one ended Chicago Fire 1, Montreal Impact 2. Okay, moving on. DC United 0, Toronto FC 1. This game is tied up within the opening minute. Giovinco gobbling up a half chance, putting it in. Well, gobbling up an easy chance, to be honest with you. Knocking it into the net. And there's not really much more to be said. He scored last week. He scored again this week. And, a big win for Toronto. They need to get some momentum going after a slowish start. DC United, you never know what you're going to get from them. 4-0 winners against the Vancouver Whitecaps recently. This time they looked a little bit toothless. Ben Olsen's men. I just don't think he's got the balance right for them. He is, he's been toying with the Leon. Is he inside? Is he outside? Costa, does he play? Doesn't he play? It's just all a little bit all over the place, I think, for Ben Olsen's men at the minute. And I feel as though DC need a couple of players to really, really pick them up. Espandola sometimes is just too isolated. He needs quality around him. Saborio, you never know what he's going to do for them. But for Toronto, like I say, they're looking for momentum, aren't they? They've got some big players themselves, Bradley's, your Altidores. So they're looking to try and get some momentum, and help out Giovinco. And for them to come here and have a shutout on the road and get the 3 points is a big, big win for them. So great result for Toronto FC rather. For DC United, they need to do better. Ben Olsen, you need to get this sorted very, very quickly, to be honest with you. But this one ended DC United 0, Toronto FC 1. On to the next one. Portland Timbers 3, San Jose Earthquakes 1. Portland Timbers have got a victory. They are up and running and ready to do battle. Still no Darlington Nagbe, injured, of course, by Nigel de Jong, which resulted in de Jong's suspension. But this was a big game for them. Being impressed with San Jose Earthquakes, watched them a few times. Dominic Kinnear's men, very, very good, very well organised. But, it didn't matter. Portland, when they play like this and when they get themselves up for it and get the crowd engaged in the game, they are a handful. Saw them lose to Dallas the other night and they were destroyed, really. So there was always going to be a reaction from Caleb Porter's men, and it was a reaction as well. McInerney giving them the lead. Jack McInerney, he's a strange one, this one, because he looks as though he can do a really good job for Portland Timbers. He's a poacher. He's always in and around things in the penalty area, and if you can get him around Fernando Addy, then they could be a good little partnership. They've also got Darren Mattocks. He scored the other night against Dallas, didn't he? But he's a bit more of a runner, so I think McInerney can be a real key player for them. But it was the other man, Fernando Addy, I'm saying his name wrong. He ended up with 2 goals in this game. Chris Wondolowski from the penalty spot gave San Jose a foothold back in the game. Wondolowski onto 6 goals now, of course, but when he thought he got San Jose back into it, Portland Timbers broke and Addy put the ball away. Timbers will get better. The MLS Cup holders, they will get better. Ridgewell is a massive part of them getting better. Nagby will be a big part when he comes back and he gets himself back up to speed. But I've said it before, like Portland Timbers, I think Mattocks will be an important player for them. I think he can do some good running in that final third, will cause problems for teams in the final third. For San Jose, they'll dust themselves down and go again. This was a little bit of a frustrating loss for them. Gonna happen. Gonna lose games. Everyone loses games in MLS. So, and again, it's still early as well. I'm trying to judge teams, but nothing's really settled down. So it's just who can get the points on the board now, and that's see where when we get over the hump in June and July, see where the land lies as they push on then for that final push towards playoffs and everything else. But this was a good win for Portland Timbers. They needed it, and it was a big win for them. And it ended Portland Timbers 3, San Jose Earthquakes 1. Right, the final game of the weekend, FC Dallas playing against Sporting Kansas City. Storm warnings and everything in the area kept a lot of people away from FC Dallas' stadium. So watching it on TV, it looked like there wasn't that many people there. It was still quite noisy, and that's a shame, because this one was a good game, and Sporting Kansas City are an excellent side. They were unbeaten on the road before this one. Dallas have been fantastic. They have been absolutely brilliant. All apart from that ridiculous, crazy, berserk 5-0 defeat at Houston Dynamo. They have been very much like their old selves last year, and still without Mauro Diaz, who makes them tick in midfield or, just in that final third. But they've still got Fabian Castillo, and he was the man who tormented Sporting Kansas City. But I was impressed, and I have been impressed with Sporting Kansas City. They are a good side. Dom Dwyer is back in up front. He's just such a handful for anybody, isn't he? Brad Davis down the left as well. There was a chance at nil. It was a great little move, and Davis rolls it across, and it looks like Dyer's gonna put it in. I'm not sure if it was Zimmerman who got back, but there was a tremendous tackle. Or was it Figueroa? Whoever it was a brilliant tackle. It looked like a certain goal. Dyer just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But it was a really, really interesting game, because both teams, SKC on the break, Peter Vermeer's men on the break are really, they find little pockets and they cause you problems. Benny Feilhaber picking Dwyer out, and you've got Davis there, and they're coming forward, and you're thinking they look a really good side, on the counter-attack. Dallas are just raiding Castillo a few times, sent people to shop, and it shots across the goal, or he should have passed it. He's wasted the final ball at sometimes, and you're thinking he's playing brilliantly, but a final ball has got to come, and it's one of them with Castillo. It is what it is, but he's got that pace and that trickery and the ability to just win a game like that, and you can't help but love players like that, and he was always going to be the Dallas danger man. Sporting Kansas City, defended well and broke cleverly, and they got themselves a corner kick, and Olam scored from the corner, close range, turning it in to give Sporting Kansas City the lead. And they almost added to it immediately. They caught out at Dallas a few times, and it was just a wrong ball or the wrong pass at the right, at the wrong time, the right pass at the wrong time, however you say it. It's getting very late here now, I'm recording this. But Dallas got themselves level. Barrios gobbling up the opportunity after the routine Acosta had been involved in it, leveling things up for Dallas. And we went in at 1-1 at half time. The second half went on, and both teams were feeling each other out. Really, both had half chances to get themselves back in front. But it was Sporting Kansas City who, at the time of conceding the second goal, were actually looking to me as though they were going to score the second goal. So, they give a free kick away right on the edge of the penalty area. And, Mauro Rosales, who just come on as a substitute, one of his first touches, the free kick's right on the edge of the penalty area. And he just steps up and goes over Dom Dwyer, who's probably the smallest person in the ball, just bends it. The minute he's hit it, it's in. It's right, nestles right in the corner of the net. And that proves to be the winner. And it was a brilliant free kick. Mauro Diaz scored a brilliant free kick the other week for Dallas. And, Rosales, I think you say his name right, Mauro Rosales, he proved the match winner with a wonderful free kick. Dallas, really, really impressive. Yes, they played more games than anyone, but the sitting top of the Western Conference, and Sporting Kansas City being really, really good. Don't get me wrong, and they will certainly be in the mix. They look a good side as well. But that was their first defeat on the road. They had lost at home to Real Salt Lake and to Colorado Rapids, but this was the first defeat on the road. But I'm quite sure they will bounce back. But this one ended FC Dallas 2, Sporting Kansas City 1. So there you have it. There's my match reaction to all the weekend's action. I've done separate video for Orlando City and New England Revolution because of the controversy around that. Check that out. I've also done a separate video for Houston Dynamo 1, LA Galaxy 4. Check that out. Give us a subscribe, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at the MLS Show, and keep spreading the love. I will see you soon on the MLS Show. Welcome to the MLS Show. It is me, Baz, for the results reaction video. Gonna review all of the weekend's action in this video, so make sure you stick around to see all of that. But let's begin with the game between Columbus Crew and New York City. So the first one we're going to look at is Columbus Crew against New York City. This one in the Columbus Crew 3, New York City 2. Entertaining game. 5 goals. Columbus Crew's first victory of the season. You wouldn't have said that, MLS Cup runners-up last season. You wouldn't have said it would have took them a few weeks to get off them. But then, it had to happen. It had to happen. And in the second half, Kai Kamara got himself back amongst the goals with a shot from the edge of the box. Justin Merrim fed and Kamara took it on, rasped it into that far corner past Saunders. A great finish to give Columbus Crew a 2-1 lead. And then they took over. They were the better side for me. New York City toiled away again. There's just a little bit of tinkering needed, I think, with New York City. I think he's got, for me, like I've said it so many times, but they're a man short up front for me. They're a target man. There's someone who will take the weight off Villa, get hold of the ball for Mark. But I felt as though it's been coming. I think they're too good a side. I said last week, I think they're too good a side to not be up there challenging. It's well documented. Kamara, Finley, Merrim, Higuain. They're too good, they're too creative to not cause problems for sides in MLS. But it's been a little bit of a, it's been coming. It's been coming, but it's taking its time. For New York City, they won day one with a great win at Chicago, and I've done very little since. And that's the frustrating thing, I think, for Patrick Vieira's men. It's now 5 games without a victory for them, so they're going to be very, very frustrated there. This war at the back, but it just didn't quite work. And I think that's sometimes the difficulty when you're switching formations. But I think it's still early in Vieira's reign. It's too early. It's a long season, MLS. We've said that before. Yes, there's merits to having a strong start where you finish in the standings, but it's still early. And I think Vieira will tighten this side up. And once they get once they get the win, and get a little bit of momentum going, I think we'll see a much, much better New York City side. I still feel as though they're a little bit short in the front areas to help Villa out. But they got themselves level. A great cross from Iriola and David Villa. Lovely little header into the far corner to tie things up at 1 each at the break. One, a game that opened up, I think, quite brightly. And Ethan Finlay getting off the mark for the season, took his goal well, Merrim involved as he is, and Finlay rapping home from close range to give Columbus Crew the lead. And then, you're hoping from them that they're going to go on and build. I think Patrick Vieira's men went to a 4 at the back. I think Chris Pajak, who is on the main show that we do, is a New York City fan. Talked about the 3 at the back, given how narrow the pitch is at home, and would they switch when they go away and there's bigger pitches, and that's exactly what Vieira did. He went to a 4.